MTA Visions defines corporate social responsibility as an intentional set of systematically integrated humanitarian principles and actions applied by a legal entity to champion accountability and yield positive impacts on the environment and as expected by stakeholders. Consumer expectations have risen to a level where they will boycott brands that appear unethical. This includes ethics from the sourcing aspect for products with the expectation that product sourcing is both ethical and sustainable. According to Caitlin McAvoy from Azul Partners, ethical sourcing is the process of ensuring the products are being sourced and obtained in a responsible and sustainable way, and that the workers involved in making them are safe and treated fairly. There are three components to ethical sourcing: environmental impact, social impact, and labor impact. Due to the complexity of global supply chains, ensuring corporations and their suppliers are meeting these expectations is quite difficult. Brands do not necessarily know if their supply chain workers are being treated fairly, which can lead to issues such as forced labor and even human trafficking. Fortunately, there are mechanisms to increase transparency over the production of goods. Supply chain management can help suppliers adhere to the ethical sourcing standards set by a corporation. MTA Visions curates a collective of global signature corporate social responsibility programs, campaigns, and initiatives under the firm's CSR campaign Impact Move. Impact Move is evidence of MTA Visions' in-house commitment to CSR both locally and globally from an MTA CSR point of view that stems from four key MTA CSR sectors: employee, community, governance, and environment. Oftentimes, Impact Move commitments will begin as an initiative with a research and public relations framework and later evolve into campaigns backed with advocacy priorities, pragmatic and educational functions across continents, and advisory services across stakeholders in both the public and private sectors. Take, for example, the Impact Move initiative entitled Corporate Political Responsibility, or CPR. This initiative falls under the MTA CSR governance sector. CPR was created to monitor and influence corporations' political spending via their PAC towards socially responsible issues that directly impact their employees, communities they serve, shareholders, and the environment from which they are headquartered or conducting business. Out of this initiative grew Beyond the Post, an MTA Visions campaign to steer corporations away from solely responding to social and political issues with statements and to equip them with the tools and strategies to reflect a genuine commitment to the issue through integrating it into the company's goals, missions, philanthropy spending, lobbying efforts, hiring decisions, and many more. This campaign falls under MTA CSR community sector. Additionally, Beyond the Post aims for corporations to invest in solutions to political and social issues, integrate policies within the corporate framework, and provide transformational training for corporate leadership. Impact Move has recently added a new campaign under the MTA CSR governance sector titled SourceEthically. SourceEthically is an MTA Visions Impact Move campaign that positions corporations to champion profit with purpose by equipping them with the tools to effectively respond to all facets of the ethical sourcing of labor. The mission of SourceEthically is to promote the ethics of fair labor and increase the transparency of corporate supply chains. The goals of SourceEthically are to work with corporations to conduct an overview of their supply chain management, measure the ROI of existing CSR efforts for C-suite and shareholders, provide technical assistance on incorporating a VP of supply chain management to oversee sustainable sourcing, create a database of certified ethical suppliers, establish employee resource groups to enhance employee engagement and foster an inclusive workplace that aligns with the corporation's goals, and to partner with governments to create poverty alleviation subsidies that will cut the cost of production for suppliers and incentivize corporations to fulfill CSR requirements. Ethical sourcing is difficult to monitor due to the widespread reach of multinational supply chains. In Fiji, only 20% of companies in the tuna industry were reported having mapped their entire supply chain. In Denmark, more than 50% of the members of the two largest unions in Denmark work in Danish or foreign-based multinational corporations. In 2017, American multinational enterprises employed 42.5 million workers worldwide. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, protecting workers' rights and upholding labor standards, which are outlined by the International Labor Organization, can be difficult in complex global supply chains. In the mining sector in the DRC, the Human Rights Watch reported that workers were told to live on site during the COVID-19 pandemic or that they would lose their jobs. In Jamaica, the Equal Times reported that 40,000 workers in BPOs have not been able to have trade union representation within their firms. According to the International Trade Union Confederation, Colombia's high rate of trade union killings positioned Colombia as one of the countries with the worst global rights index. In 2020, the United States Department of Labor released a report finding evidence that 22 commercial goods imported from China were produced by the forced labor of Uyghur Muslims. There are many mitigating factors that contribute to the unethical sourcing of labor, including complex supply chains, low regulations for multinational corporations, human rights abuses, varying labor standards across countries, and a lack of accountability on multiple fronts. Ethical sourcing is not just an issue of sustainability, it is an issue of human rights. Consumers play an important role in conveying expected production practices practices, which is why corporations should meet their expectations genuinely when it comes to ethical sourcing. MTA Visions will continue to promote the ethical sourcing of labor through its Impact Move CSR initiatives, campaigns, and programs, specifically its SourceEthically campaign. For corporations looking to increase transparency over their supply chains, reach out to an MTA Visions senior advisor who can provide technical assistance and curate supply chain accountability reports to monitor supplier activities. MTA Visions can enhance CSR initiatives to focus on employee engagement, relations, and experience. MTA Visions can also provide compliance advisory to help corporations uphold commitment to fair wages, working conditions, and health and safety standards. For employees who are not being protected under international labor standards, reach out to an MTA Visions senior advisor who can help connect you with labor rights groups and legal resources. For community stakeholders concerned about the unsustainable sourcing of products, reach out to an MTA Visions senior advisor who could liaise between the community and corporations to conduct impact measurement and reporting with particular focus on human and environmental impact. Thank you for listening to this Thought Chat on ethical sourcing and MTA Visions' role in championing corporate social responsibility through its Impact Move and SourceEthically campaigns. Powered by MTA Visions. MTA Visions is a global corporate social responsibility and government relations firm based in Washington, D.C. that helps its clients move to champion profit with purpose, amplify impact both locally and globally, and protect clean interests in sovereign states and all levels of the U.S. government. To connect with a member of the MTA Visions team, send an email to info@mtavisions.com.